That's kind of clear. You're a church widow. That's what Dave Showalter told me. I said, yeah, I'm a church widow. Most of the time.
Oh, yeah, they've got the star too, so they gotta know that they don't have to stand up while they're playing the music. But you have to announce about it.
No, I'm doing the welcome. So you're speaking before that. So maybe you should, do you want me to say it in the welcome? Yes. Okay. Let us now settle into a spirit of worship with a moment of quiet, to be followed by the music of Kathleen Nagy, Invitation to Prayer. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom.
Good morning. Today we'll explore the process of creating a space using sound and music within which alignment can be delivered. Alignment can mean many things. The alignment can be physical, emotional, or spiritual. Creating this kind of space is what I do, and it's what I'll be sharing with you this morning. The first piece to put in place is opening the heart. This is one of my mantra songs that I composed to challenge myself to prioritize living with an open heart. I use it like a chant. I just repeat it over and over until I feel the tears running down my face and I know my heart is open. So this song is called How Wide Can I Open My Heart? How wide can I open? How wide can I open? How wide can I open my heart? How wide can I open? How wide can I open? How wide can I open my heart? How wide can I open? How wide can I open? How wide can I open my heart?
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Worcester, a congregation of love, hope, and justice, inspiring people to take on the challenges of a changing world. My name is Andrew Wilkin, and I am one of your worship associates this morning. We begin by acknowledging that in Worcester, Massachusetts, we work, learn, live, and worship on the seized ancestral homeland of the Nipmuc people, who thrive and remain active as the Nipmuc tribe. If you would like to learn more about the Nipmuc community, please see the brochure in our foyer. We offer a special welcome to those of you who are new or are visiting us for the first time this morning. We are delighted that you are here. We hope that you will join us in Fellowship Hall following the service for refreshments and conversation. If you have questions or desire more information about this service or any of the ministries and programs of this congregation, please do not hesitate to ask. We invite you to fill out one of the cards found in the pews. These cards can be placed in the offering plate or given to one of the ushers or greeters this morning. For those of you joining us online, we offer you a very special welcome. For safety purposes and so that we might get to know you better, as you are able, please place your name on your video feed. Please take a moment to sign one of the attendance clipboards that are now being circulated. Though you're not obligated to sign, we appreciate your information and will use it only for church purposes. During the service, we offer an opportunity to share a brief personal joy or sorrow. If you would like yours to be read aloud by the minister, please print it on an index card in the pew and drop it in the collection plate when it comes around. These cards will also be posted outside the minister's office to be shared with our friends at other services. For those online, you can place a joy or sorrow in the chat, and we will share it during this time in our service. In the foyer, there are listening devices, large print service programs, and hymnals for those who might find their assistance to be beneficial. Please see one of our ushers who will be pleased to assist you. I invite you now to turn your technology to worship mode. Finally, please note that the announcements on the back of your program. There will be a time for short verbal announcements following the postlude. We are glad that you are here and hope that this morning is an opportunity for rest, reflection, and rejuvenation.
The opening words are from 421 in the Gray Hymnal. Oh, sing a new song to the Eternal. Shout praise. All earth break into music and song. Let the sea and all within it thunder praise. The world and its inhabitants. Let the rivers clap their hands. Let mountains sing in chorus. Oh, sing a new song to the Eternal. The opening hymn you don't have to stand for. There is a typo. That was the one from last week. The opening hymn is going to be done by the bell choir. It's a piece I call the Emotional Stabilizer. I wrote this piece originally for piano, but here I've arranged it for bells. It starts on a low note. Now you can hum along. It starts on a low note and rises 1/2 step at a time. It goes up the scale and gets to the top and it comes down. So you'll recognize the pattern after you've heard it a few times. I'd like you to hum along with the low note. When you hear the bells play the low note, just hum it. And as the notes move upward, just keep listening for the low note and just sing. It will be very obvious. Hum along if you dare. I am a very practiced hummer, and I'll be talking about that, but it usually has a very calming effect, which will allow us to move into a second ingredient for creating a space of alignment after opening the heart, which is a high-frequency emotional state. So this is the bell choir with the Emotional Stabilizer. I will try to hum the low note and conduct at the same time. We'll see how that works.
But it'll be better if you hum too.
Yes. Oh. You will all be vibrating. You will all be vibrating by the time this ends. Okay. Not hum the high note.
At this time, we would like to call forward our basket bearers. Each week, the participants in our religious exploration program collect change to contribute to the emergency fund of this contribution. If you would like to contribute change this morning, please raise your hand, jazz hands optional. And one of our basket bearers will find you. The emergency fund of this congregation provides needed necessities for families in our congregation and the community at large during times of crisis and transition. Most importantly, this is Vicky's favorite thing is to sort change and roll it, so put tons of change in there for her. We thank you so much for your continued support of this important ministry.
I have been dreaming about doing this kind of ceremony for 30 years. Some of the songs we're performing for you today were written 30 years ago. It's been a long time coming, but there's a time and a place for everything. And now is the time for me to share some of my learnings about sound over the years and how to create a space within which alignment can be delivered. I am a musician. I come to this endeavor from the perspective of a sound master. My dominant sense for taking in and processing information is my hearing. I experience the world through my ears more than my eyes. That's just me. I like to play with sound. I teach about listening to your inner wisdom, doing for yourself, and taking responsibility for your own innate healing abilities. I help people discover how to use the sound of your voice to trigger your body's natural healing processes. I used to play in a symphony orchestra, but after 20 years, I became disillusioned. It was the 1812 overture that did it to me. It was a piece that I had played many times. It would be played on the 4th of July, but also sometimes in a spring concert, so several times a year for 20 years. Made me realize I didn't have one more da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da in me. And I saw older members of the orchestra just phoning it in, and I didn't want that to happen to me. Intuitively, I knew there was more to music than simply entertaining people. And so I made the jump from music for entertainment to music for sound and music for healing. I pondered my musical path and saw that composers throughout time had sought for and attempted ascension upon sound's invisible wings. Pythagoras said that sound was the link between God and man. For me, this sacred connection was remembered at the age of 5 on a Christmas morning when a toy trumpet sat calling to me from underneath the tree. I remember tears of joy and recognition welling up from some deep, sacred place inside of me. Now, it's comical and precious to consider my parents' bewilderment at this unexpected response to a plastic trumpet and a fake alligator skin case. But from that point on, I knew I was a musician. Unconsciously and intuitively, I knew that music would be my vehicle to self-realization. But somewhere in that left-brained labyrinth of discipline that paved the way to classical perfection, I lost the joy of the toy trumpet. I'd lost the forest for the trees. I know now that this joy, created by performing classical music, was never meant to be an unattainable reward in a never-ending pursuit of perfection. It was and is a gift, a byproduct of the creative process implanted in our souls to assure the eventual reconnection to our ultimate raison d'être. I learned that a simple tone made sacred with intention is a powerful carrier wave for healing and enlightenment. That it can have a harmonizing effect on our subtle life force energies. It can break emotional and psychological blocks and stimulate memory. It can carry us into deep meditative states of bliss, where the barriers of time, space, and mass do not exist. After I stopped playing in the symphony orchestra when I was about 40 years old, I started studying bioacoustics. This is a new emerging science that studies how frequencies in the voices of birds or whales or humans affect their bodies and their surroundings. Did you know that the sounds of birds singing in the spring tell the seeds in the soil to start germinating? I have learned the state of our health is truly in the sound of our voice. And lucky for us, the good Lord made us so that we could use our own voice to heal our bodies. In fact, the most powerful tool we have for healing our own bodies is the sound of our own voice. Because there's an important connection between the voice and the ear and the brain. It's generally accepted that the ear is the first organ to fully develop inside the womb. And the brain is growing simultaneously off the ear. The frequencies that are spoken by the voice, the vocal cords, and heard by the ears are sent through the cranial nerves and go right up to the brain. The vagus nerve plays an important role from the abdomen. It comes up and intertwines with the vocal cords. Our speaking carries the frequencies from all the lower parts of our body, from the vagus nerve, and is heard by the ears up through the cranial nerves into the brain as the 10th cranial nerve. The sound of the voice is one of the ways that the brain knows the health of the body. When I learned about the innate process of the brain listening to the sound of the voice to know the health of the body, I started to use humming in my meditations. Prior to using humming in my meditations, I would try very hard to visualize things. For example, chakras. I tried for years to see them, but to no avail. All I would see was blackness, which was very unsatisfying, to the point that I stopped trying to see them, and I concluded that they don't really exist. They were just a bunch of woo-woo. I had no proof of their existence. I only had the words of people who I admired that believed in them. But I couldn't see them. I couldn't feel them. I couldn't touch them. I had trouble imagining them. So I decided to know them in another way, my musician's way, using sound, not sight. I thought that if I could feel them vibrate in my body, I would know they really existed. So I started humming different notes, like I had done earlier when I had healed my asthma. I was diagnosed with asthma at the age of 40. I hated the medicines I had to take, and they made me so jittery. So I intuitively healed it by finding a note that would vibrate my lungs. I found that if I hummed it for about 20 minutes a day, I did it for about a month, my asthma went away, never had to use the medicines again. It never came back. And at that point, I was the believer in the power of sound to heal. I decided to use the same process for chakras. I thought that if I could find a note that would vibrate them, I would believe they existed. I remembered a line from a book that I had read years earlier called The Spiritual Dimensions of Music. I don't even think it's in print anymore. But it said that if you sang the lowest note you could comfortably sing, you would feel your root chakra vibrating. That's the one at the base of the spine. So I tried it, but I didn't sing it, I hummed it. Because when you hum, all the vibrations stay inside of your body, which allows you to feel the energy of your voice in your body, instead of opening up your mouth and letting the sound out of your body. And lo and behold, I found a note that gave me a subtle feeling at the base of my spine. And I shouted out, "These things are real! Chakras do exist! I can feel my root chakra!" Then I proceeded to gradually hum higher and higher notes to see if I could feel the rest of my chakra, and I discovered my body's chakra scale. It was a Lydian scale, and it resonates with 7 major chakras. The notes were do, re, mi, fi, sol, la, ti, do. Then after trying this with with several other people, I realized it was the same scale for everyone, but it starts on a different note, depending on the range of your voice. So if my voice is lower than yours and my lowest note, let's say, is C, your lowest note might be F, C, D, E, F, a little higher than that. So your chakra scale would be a Lydian scale, but it would start on the note F, not C. Well, at that point, I became an ardent hummer. I'd hum my chakra scale every day. I did it because it made me feel good. Then I started to research the scientifically proven benefits of humming. Ready for this? Humming boosts immunity by creating 15 times more nitric oxide in the nasal passages, which fights off viruses, bacteria, fungus. It expands the blood vessels and lowers the heart rate. It lowers the blood pressure. There we go. It expands the blood vessels and lowers the heart rate and the blood pressure. Humming vibrates the vagus nerve, which deactivates fight or flight mode. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which then turns from fight or flight to rest and digest. It calms the nervous system by reducing stress hormones like cortisol. It enhances sleep. It detoxifies the body by boosting antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory action. It shifts the body into a relaxed state that aids cellular detoxification. The vibrations of humming are accompanied by circulation and oxygenation. So now I teach people how to find their personal chakra scale and how to use humming to move energy through their body with their voice. I've written a book called Humming for Health, Sound Tools for Physical and Emotional Balance. After it was published, people started calling me a practical mystic. Being a practical mystic involves using processes and systems that already exist in the body or in nature, but with a higher consciousness to amplify the results. So humming for health was another way to use a system that already existed within our body, but with a higher consciousness and intent. Switching from our body unconsciously, sort of nervously humming when we get nervous, to a conscious, intentional humming that can act on different parts of the body. And because the brain is always listening to the sound of the voice, to keep the body in homeostasis. We had a chance to experience the benefits of a little bit of humming when we did the emotional stabilizer piece. We hum to soothe ourselves. We never perform a hum. I've never heard anyone perform a hum. It's a deeply personal, self-soothing tool. We may hum to an infant in our arms, but usually we hum to soothe ourselves. We probably all experienced that kind of nervous humming, but you probably haven't availed yourself of a full 3 or 4 minutes of humming and sustaining a sound like we did a little bit earlier. Some of you may still be vibrating. When we hum, all of the vibrations of the sound stay inside the body, right? Our mouths are closed, and you can actually direct those vibrations to bring circulation and oxygenation to all different parts of the body. Low humming sounds will vibrate lower parts of the body, and higher humming sounds will vibrate the upper part. When I discovered that every body has its own personal scale, I realized we could actually vibrate all the parts of the body. For example, when we consciously hum our heart chakra note, which is the part of the chest just above the heart here, we calm our breathing and slow our heartbeat. We can hum our thyroid gland with the throat. The throat is connected to the throat chakra, connected to the thyroid gland. You can increase the energy of your digestive organs by humming your solar plexus chakra note, connected to the organs of digestion. We can move energy through our body with our voices. Even if a part of our body lies in between these chakra centers, we can hum the note in between those notes. For example, if your sinuses are clogged and your sinuses live between your third eye and your throat chakra, let's say your throat chakra is the note D and your third eye is the note E. Well, your sinuses are going to be the note D sharp, the note in between those. Then humming D sharp will resonate our sinuses and clear our sinuses and bring nitric oxide and kill bacteria and fungus and all that great stuff. So putting this all together with a much simpler language, let me say, matter vibrates. I think most of us can agree to that. Sound is vibration. Duh. Therefore, sound affects matter. You just have to have the right note for the particular piece of matter. That's where I come in. I can help people find those notes. I've been blessed to be a part of several miraculous healings using sound and music. So today, I am here creating a space using sound and music within which alignment can be delivered. I know 3 ingredients that have to be present for this to happen. An open heart full of love and compassion, a high vibration emotional frequency, and the awareness of our oneness with all things. That's why I started the service out with, how wide can I open my heart? And it's going to be followed with the emotional stabilizer to raise us to a higher, more balanced, well, we did the emotional stabilizer, right? To raise us to a higher and more balanced emotional frequency. In a few more minutes, I'm going to do a forgiveness chant and follow that by the act of letting go, followed by a oneness chant. In my life, I've found that learning how to forgive pays out benefits for our mental and emotional well-being throughout our lives. It's hard to forgive. A safe place to start is to learn how to forgive ourselves. Once you go through that painful process of getting to the point of forgiveness, you realize there was really nothing to forgive in the first place. And it becomes easier to forgive others. What I mean by there was really nothing to forgive in the first place is once you get to the bottom of what you did, that thing that you're not proud of, and you see all the factors that made you do it, were mostly misinterpretations, misunderstandings that you thought were true but really weren't. Many times there are the little lies that we tell ourselves to help us get through a situation because we don't have the knowledge or support to deal with them at that time. But now in hindsight, we understand it was the best we could do in that situation, given the tools that we had at that time. And it makes it easier for us to see that other people who have harmed us probably didn't have the tools or support or knowledge that they needed at that time in their lives. So they made bad decisions, like we've all made bad decisions, and that hurt us. After forgiveness happens, then it's time for letting go. So I wrote this song, Letting Go, a good 10 years before Disney did. And I have it copyrighted. I should complain about that. So this letting go is going to be the musical meditation. Will encourage and help you to be a little more gentle with yourselves. The closing hymn is about oneness. My story that brought me my understanding of oneness began on a beach in Wellfleet, Massachusetts. I was in the middle of what turned out to be 10 years of caring for my wife who had breast cancer. When I felt like I was out of energy and I couldn't go on with working full-time and coming home not knowing if she would be alive or dead when I walked in the door, I would go to the ocean. That was the place that was so large and so loud that I could have a good cry and not affect anyone else with those huge feelings. Rage, sadness, exhaustion, for me was best expressed at the ocean because it could absorb it all with no ill effects to itself. So we were staying at a friend's place on the Cape, and I got up early, go to the beach and meditate and release this energy so I could continue with the process of watching my wife slowly diminish and die. While I was there, an extraordinary thing happened. I was alone on the beach. I tried to have my cry, but nothing came out. So I started doing a Buddhist walking meditation, connecting to the earth with my feet in the sand. I walked very purposely and slowly for about a half an hour, and all of a sudden, I heard these words in my head. I am the sand. I am the sun. I am the water. We are one. Just like that, this little poem on oneness just dropped right into my head. So I began saying it to myself over and over, and I continued walking for about another half an hour. Then I decided to go back to the cottage and wake up my wife. I was sad because she had chosen not to come to bed with me the night before. She slept on the couch in the living room instead. And while I was trying to have my cry at the beach, that was in my mind. Later, I found out that she was having one of her nights of restless legs. Didn't want to ruin my sleep, so she slept in the living room on the bed, on the couch. But the spirits at the beach, evidently, had been listening to my thoughts. When I got back to the cottage, she was sitting on the porch drinking her coffee, and she began shaking her head and rolling her eyes and looking at me, and I was like, "Why? What are you doing that for?" She told me she was seeing a line of spirits walking behind me as if I were the Pied Piper, that they had followed me from the beach. She was gifted with the ability to see those things. And I thought, oh, they were the ones that put that song into my head, that poem into my head. So I suggested that we go inside so I could tell her about it. We could play some drums and improvise on it for a while with the spirits to have some fun. In the process of doing that, she stopped and told me she had been told that she would never have restless legs again. She said she was seeing energy falling out of her knees onto the floor. It looked like puddles of water in a gas station puddle. It was dark and murky with electric kind of colors. And she never did have restless legs again after that. It was a miracle. Her doctors were shocked and surprised. She stopped taking her medicine, and that was the end of that. I tell this story to show that the ingredients for the miracle were all there. My broken but open heart, the energy that we raised with our drumming and singing, and we were singing about the oneness of all things. So I will share that oneness song with you at the end as the closing hymn today. And I leave you with this. Sound is the most basic component of the creative process. For in the beginning, God said, "Let there be light." The sound of the vibration made it so. There was sound before there was light. And as co-creators, as instruments of the one, we must sing whatever songs comes most naturally to us. It is a fitting response to a sacred gift.
At this point,
Yeah, go ahead.
before we do the offertory, there is so we're not doing the offertory yet. There is another piece that is coming in here, which is called
The forgiveness chant. Yeah, there's a typo in the order of service. That hymn.
And
Oh, no.
Any choir member or anyone else who
Okay.
would like to sing up here, you may come up. The song is very, very easy, and you'll know it. There's one word which is forgive, which we say it time and time again. So if you want to come up and sing with us, that would be wonderful. Anybody in the congregation, but in the congregation, you'll sing along as well when we get to that point.
Forgive, 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 forgive. The bells will be playing it Everyone can sing along. It starts with the French horn. Words to that chant are, no, give me the F minor. With this sacred breath, in the presence of all that is holy, I do now in this eternal moment forgive, forgive, forgive myself. 3. Forgive, 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 forgive. One more time. With this sacred breath, in the presence of all that is holy, I do now in this eternal moment forgive, forgive, forgive myself.
To share our gratitude for this beloved community, which brings song and joy and healing and friendship. So as Aaron would say, feel free to reach into the pocket of the person next to you, take out their checkbook, and write the largest check you feel comfortable writing. So with this, the offertory will begin.
The piece that will be played to the sound system is There Will Always Be Enough. We come to that time in our service when we pause to consider what is deepest in our hearts and most profoundly on our minds, or the work of our hands in the days that have transpired. Joys and sorrows, which touch us deeply and are given another measure of meaning, because we can share them in the midst of a company that claims to be co-journeyers. Those of you who have a joy or sorrow to share this morning are invited to form lines on either side of the sanctuary and come in turn to the microphone, telling us first who you are. So using our auditory enhancement devices might also participate in this important ritual. And then light a candle if you desire. And if you'd like me to read your joy or sorrow aloud, or then please bring it on an index card from the pew. If you're joining us online this morning and have a joy or sorrow to share, please put it in the chat preceded by "please read," so that it can be found quickly, and we will share it during this time. Are there any joys and sorrows for today?
My name is Andrew Wilkin. Hello. 26 years and 4 days ago, I married my wife.
Hi, my name is Beth Heller, and I'm close to tears. I was a member of this church and a member of the choir for a good many years, and I had been working retail and had to work Sundays, and I quit my job last Wednesday, and the first thing, after the store manager treated me like crap, sorry about my language, and the first thing I did was, oh boy, I can come here. And I can't tell you how many Sundays I thought about Aaron and about the love of this church and how much I missed it. Oh, and it was nice to be remembered when I went up to the choir. Another choir member said, "Welcome back to the choir."
Good morning. My name is Dawn Dowd. I am usually here with my laptop to share joys and sorrows for our online community, and there is still time if anyone has any, but I wanted to come up for me, actually. Yesterday was the one-year anniversary of my mom's passing. It's sad, and I can hear, and I appreciate it. And I miss her. I don't want this to sound insensitive anyway, but my life has changed and I am enjoying it in a way that I didn't during her illness, and I'm grateful for that release. I am enjoying the ability to live my life as I choose, which is something that I did not experience as her child. And I don't mean that in any negative way. It was who she was and who I was and where we were, but I'm grateful for the place that I am. And I miss her, but I'm grateful for the changes and the healing that are happening. What was your mom's name? My mother's name was Sandra.
Let's sing Sandra's name.
She would be grateful for that, and she would enjoy this.
We're just going to do it like do, mi, sol, do, Sandra. And then the second time we'll do do, mi, sol, mi. Ready? Sandra, here we go. Sandra, Sandra.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Paul, and I got results from a test this week. Several years ago, I and I went for a PSA test, and it was over 4. Ooh, red bells. And so we went through this thing called a cyber knife, for prostate stuff. And last year it was 0.7, now it's 0.6. So, yay.
And I'm going to light a candle of joy for, we've for so many years had a choir that has been a source of community within the church and a source of friendship and lots of kind of good things. And only for the past several years have we begun to have a bell choir. But the bell choir is also a source of friendship, a source of community, a source of joy. And I'm going to light a candle for all of the members of, all the current members, all the past members, and all the future members of the choir and the bell choir. And also, I'm just enormously grateful to Kathleen for her guidance in the bell choir.
Now be with me in the spirit of prayer, spirit of life and love. We pause this morning to reflect on those things which continue to touch us deeply in sadness and gladness. Today we draw support, encouragement, and inspiration from each other. In the midst of that which challenges us, we remember we are not alone and that we are indeed loved. Help us be mindful of this when we are apart from each other and when we feel most alone. Give us strength and courage to face the coming days with hope and courage that we can do what we must, and give us moments of rest and rejuvenation for the journey forward. We pray this in the name of all that is good, true, holy, and right. Amen, and blessed be.
it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go. Release the weight, feel the love in its place. In light and grace, let it go. Let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go. Create a space for God to embrace. Bless and give thanks, let it go. The responsive reading is number 464 in the gray hymnals.
Will come to a world that is harsh and unkind. And then both women and men will be strong. And then all will be rich and free and varied. And then all will share equally in the earth's abundance. And then all will nourish the young. And then all will live in harmony with each other and the earth.
So this is that oneness chant that I talked about earlier. I am the sand, I am the sun. And at the end of it, I'm just going to repeat a part of it over and over, and you can just sing one with me, one when we get there. Let's see. Is that all I wanted to say? I guess so. So this is from Make Believe we're at the ocean, and you're listening to the waves kind of fall on the sand. I am the sand, I am the sun, I am the water, we are one. One with the breath, one with the sound, one with the light glowing all around. One with the love, one with the light, knowing our wholeness is all about. Here we go. One, 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 one. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us, now and always. For you shall go out in joy and be led back in peace. The mountains and the hills before you shall burst into song, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands.
Nobody else, huh? So I'm Kathy. In 2 weeks, we're going to have our annual meeting, and we have an annual luncheon, and we need your help. Don't miss this opportunity to help. Thank you so much.